like we go live on YouTube. We could go live on, what else can we go live on? Okay, yeah, it's redirecting to YouTube. Nice. Maybe we'll pick up some. Okay. So it just went over to a stream. This meeting is being live streamed. Got it. Okay. Hey, YouTube. Welcome to the C4C Fridays at C4C meeting. Today is January 20th. My name is Newman Lanier, even though it says Cardano for Climate right there under my name. And I am being joined by all these beautiful people that are working on making an impact in climate change and the multifaceted crisis that's going on all around us that we're feeling, that our neighbors and friends and communities are feeling. And we're all here together to make a difference, to try to build things that make a difference for ourselves and our bigger, wider community, in specifically the Cardano and blockchain space. But we're from all over the world, and thanks for joining in. Does anyone got any important announcements as we get started? Or non-important announcements?
Me and Cole have been working on some videos for the impact onboarding. We recorded them ourselves with our voices and our cam, and we have now this idea of doing it all with AI and AI voices. So because we think it's kind of weird if we go into meetings, show a video of us talking and then explaining what we just talked about. So now we are doing it with AI, and I think we'll have them ready this weekend and we can show them to you guys.
Excellent.
And yeah, the goal is to hopefully for the next 10 or so C4C sessions, kind of take a 30-minute breakout room for anyone who invites like newcomers or their friends who are really new to Cardano or just the ecosystem as a whole. And we can have a nice little session for them. And then we'll provide like a survey as well to see where they need further help and what maybe we can change about our impact onboarding initiative as well. And then also like, this will be really valuable too for the entire C4C ecosystem, because we can kind of just use these as the impact onboarding materials for any newcomers going forward through the lifespan of C4C, and then like add to them or iterate with them. But yeah, it should be really cool.
Nice. Anything? Okay, so that and for Simon who's taking notes, that's the impact onboarding, and that's a proposal that you and Cole and Daniel are working on. And then the thing is like, yeah, that makes sense, using the AI to generate some videos with those AI voices and stuff. And you're planning on doing those, just to summarize, you're planning on doing those in like breakout rooms in 30-minute sections at a time. Is that correct?
Yes,
that's like a 30-minute tour, and or to start anyway.
Yeah. We are thinking about that, but also we're trying to find other spaces where we can present this. So we've done an impact onboarding on the LATAM town hall. There's a town hall coming up next Thursday, and I would like to present it there as well. We've done some talks in Twitter spaces with communities from other blockchains, especially SafeMoon, and we've also talked about the initiative. So the idea is to use the C4C meetings as like our base, and then we can start looking at other places where we get the opportunity to talk. But it's not so easy to find places where we can present the impact onboarding.
And it was pretty awesome, that first SafeMoon session. We had like 129, I think, participants tune in. So that was a pretty big session. And pretty much for the breakout rooms, like the framework is we're just gonna do like a little introduction, say who we are, and then break up the videos into kind of 3 sections. What is Cardano? Why Cardano? Looking at Project Catalyst as well, and then into the impact communities within Cardano. And then we also created in welcome packets. So anyone who needs the next step or wants that next step to where to navigate and where to go, they can use that packet and has tons of resources within it as well.
Oh man, that's great. That's great.
Cole, where did you have 129? It's a video watched or participant?
Yeah, so it was participants. Yeah, it was on a Twitter space with the SafeMoon community.
Okay.
And I can get the link to that as well. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. We had 129 tune in, and then they asked us to come back and explain a little bit more at the next space. And I think we might do a couple more as well in the future.
Ooh, nice.
Amazing. So in the LATAM community, it was, you said?
No,
that was the SafeMoon community, but the LATAM community, we probably had about
which community?
25 to 30. It's another blockchain ecosystem.
Okay.
So yeah,
SafeMoon.
so we're trying to get the SafeMoon guys to learn more about Cardano and kind of give them our little impact onboarding spiel as well.
Okay,
Oh, so
amazing. Bravo.
yeah, so sort of cross chain, interop type of stuff. I mean, climate change is an interop operation, so yeah, it makes sense. That's really cool. When did that happen? Was that
just like last month, I believe? We hopped on 2 of them last month.
Yeah, no, I think the first one was I think end of November maybe, and the other one was I think a couple of weeks back.
Okay, cool. And
I think it's on the impact onboarding report, right? Cool. Maybe the first one.
Yeah, I think we added the link to the Twitter space, so I can find that and share that in the chat below as well.
okay, cool.
Yeah, incredible. Well done.
I'm okay, so mindful of the time. We've got about a quarter of the hour. We will just spend 1 hour. Part of the main focus of this meeting is a sprint review. If you'll look at this Miro board called the C4C sprint planning, you know what? Let me share my screen. Yeah, I can do that. Why not? Yeah. Let me do that. Boom, 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 boom. I share screen. I share the sound. I share this one. Okay. You all can see that? Oh, can you see? Are there like black spots in the screen?
No, we said quite good.
Okay, good. So I want to zoom in. So this is the sprint that we're working on now. So the C4C has moved into like a sprint for the last, I guess it's been a few months now, where we're working with the agile framework and sprints. This sprint is sprint 1 of the new year, and it's been going on since January 9th. Today, we're finishing this sprint January 20th. We had 2 goals, C4C in 2023, which included clarity for goals on the C4C, and we've done a bunch of things on that. And then we also did this updating the calendar. And we sort of brainstormed up things, and this was 2 weeks ago that we did this. I'll zoom out a little bit, and you can see that we had a week, 1 week, and then we have our weekly meeting set up, which is a sprint planning on Tuesday, a community meetup for community gathering on Wednesday, and then today on Friday, or a Friday's session, which is a C4C at Fridays, or Fridays at C4C, which just is basic, a fill-in working meeting where we do things specifically. For instance, today we're doing, which would be this day, we're doing a demo day and reflection. And so that's sort of what Daniel and Cole have done. So they are demoing the work that they've been focused on at the C4C in the last bit. One thing you'll notice is this new moon. We are sliding down into the new moon. I think the new moon happens in a couple of days. And we try to be mindful of the big progress bar in the sky. So the demo day and reflection, one of the things, so that's just an orientation of the where we are in our schedule. The next sprint, which will happen January 23rd, which would be this Tuesday. Is that correct? Is next Tuesday, January 23rd? Well, that's the Monday. So we'll start with a focus day, no meetings, but working. And we'll do a sprint planning on the 24th. That's what this will be. This day. So, and we'll start off the new sprint. And so on this day, we select facilitators, scribes, and admins. I guess I'm doing the admin here as well. But Simon, SEO Mon, is doing the scribe work, and that work is going on in a document. Simon, would you mind posting that document again in the chat where you're taking the notes? If anyone wants to follow along with those notes, they can put in there. In that document, we'll also take the attendance, people that are here. Oh, and if you're on YouTube, you got to sign in to Zoom to get all these goodness. We are live on YouTube, which is kind of fun to see if somebody in the wider community drops in. I don't know, is somebody monitoring the YouTube for? Let's see.
I shared the link in the chat.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah, I don't know if you can see this part of my screen, but it doesn't appear to be anyone in the YouTube. That'd be kind of fun. That's it's an innovation that we've been trying here. And basically that helps with the recording. I think that the recording will go live. I see something in the chat. Melanie, are you there? Is that where we're thinking?
Cole, I think Cole knows more about it, but I'm pretty sure that it actually records as well. And then if we decide after the fact that, we can unlist that recording, I believe. I'm not sure, but cool. Yeah.
That's very exciting.
It adds a level of convenience, that it records automatically to YouTube. It also opens up other stuff, but we'll see what happens.
Right. And so for Simon, that's just that. I think I'm going to conclude this little section on orienting to this calendar of C4C and this sprint Miro board. And I'll stop sharing just to sort of signify that we're moving into another thing. And you can also make a note that we talked about this live streaming, which I think is a neat innovation, which I think will help in a couple of ways. One, it might streamline the recordings, and two, it might, if we are in, we might pick up some new members if they see that there's a live group that's focused on climate action, personal responsibility in a time of collapse, and a community together that's come together to support each other during this time in our planetary evolution. So with that being said, does anyone else have a burning desire, something that they want to get into the record before we move on to the next section? Because we could start with, or we could
I'm
move
just,
over
sorry,
towards.
Numa, I'm just wondering who put Fund 7 challenges on the Miro board for today.
Yeah, I will look over there.
it-
It links over to a YouTube video.
Oh, it says visitor wrote it, so I don't know if that was what Nori added or.
That's kind of, I thought it was, but it just goes to a YouTube video about donut economics. So I don't know.
Okay, so that's going to be me. It's funny because yeah, just some thoughts on. I think I wrote it down during the week, and then just thoughts on Fund 7 challenges. That's all.
Humanity.
Oh, yeah, this is good. You can actually play that. Sorry, I forget when I do it. No, not from the beginning. You have to go back to that link. There was a reason why it was queued up there.
Sure.
So
Oh,
just,
I'm not
close-
changing the.
Just
Okay,
close
go ahead.
it. No, close that one and go back to the link because it'll do it
Okay.
right to the video. So before you play it, now I remember. So you know, I'm thinking about Fund 7, you know, this whole idea of it's so complex when it comes to accounting when you're not doing it the simple way. So this was interesting because I came across as I'm doing some research on other forms of payments and all this, and then I came across this donut economy, and then this little video clip came up, and this particular spot on it is very relevant when it comes to money. So that being said, you can go ahead and click it and see if it makes any sense to anybody else.
Humanity, things are working fine the way they are. We disagree, let's debate some more. Humans hate to work, it's a means to an end. Only money motivates, luxuries make amends.
But money only goes so far before it's worthless. My motivating force is something deeper, purpose.
Sometimes we work because we care about the aim, and if money enters in, our enthusiasm wanes. Not everybody wants to work for money on a platter.
Sometimes we do things just because they matter.
All right. Rational economic man is all-knowing. Calculating constantly to keep his wealth growing. Comparing all goods and all prices over time. Sure, it's an abstraction, but it works just fine.
No, it doesn't. No, it's a superhuman version. In reality, there's no way we can be so certain. Usually, we make do with the rule of thumb. Since people can't know everything, the model must be wrong.
The model doesn't feel to me like it's a human being. It's abstracted us into a kind of human slot machine. When we want the best, yes, we estimate the cost, but if we don't admit uncertainty, something core is lost.
Oi, get off me!
The model seems quite ideal to me, but it doesn't match up with reality. We need a better portrait of who we are. It must project rationality. But what about our humanity? Things are working fine the way they are.
We disagree, let's debate some more.
The economy needs inputs and the world is replete. Nature is a resource that lies at our feet. Mine it, log it, drill that well. The earth is our dominion and it's here for us to sell.
I'm sorry, but that's very big-headed.
We're not above the web of life, we're deeply embedded.
But human desire is an insatiable force, and what the market wants will be supplied, of course.
But that comes down to culture. We need sufficiency, where we're part of nature's cycles, not a separate entity. So will we keep consuming until we're overstuffed, or can we find a balance knowing how much is enough?
Enough! Look, clear off, will ya? I've got to close up for the night.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah,
I've still got a few questions, though.
I bet you have.
See you tomorrow.
We need a better portrait of who we are. Well, what would that look like then?
Oh, that's great.
pretty
Oh,
cool for stop motion. And somebody took a speech or some sort of document and put it into this this little puppet show. And obviously with hands showing, it's definitely not anything superior animated, but yeah.
Oh, I thought it was really stylized. It's beautiful. Oh gosh. Hold on, my YouTube kept playing. No, that's wonderful. Now how, so I mean there was so much in there. This sort of rational economic man. What else stood out for folks? Or
where did Simon's still there, because you said cringe. So that opens it up right away. Like, what is cringing? What's the reaction and why, Simon? What is it?
Oh, just I don't know. Some of the I don't know how to describe it. Just some of the things were pretty cringe, in my opinion.
Right. Well, yeah, it's hard to sort of catch like the, those are big concepts. Like one of the things that resonated with me was that we're not separate from the world, that we, or the world as a resource for us to use, like the dominion and domination sort of mindset, which was something that is a big part of the Western civilization mindset, because they thought of the world as, an inexhaustible resource. Did anyone resonate with that concept in the video?
I think of course I did, because that's even what Grace had put in the Telegram chat today about fund or catalyst. And, it's brought up in that this competition for limited resources. Our whole current economic system is based on a competition for limited resources. And, this is the complexity for me in Fund 7. We have a very small budget. Like, it looks like more because it says it's US dollars, but that was converted to ADA, and it's been in ADA since. So, it's whatever it was then is small amount. So I figure I can experiment with this. I know there's a few people here that need to get paid out and want to get paid out. I think Nori is working on Fund 8 budget with whoever's doing that. And, if you can go to the actual proposals themselves and the budgets and look at that and realize we are competing for these limited resources within our group. And to me, when money comes in, we can trust each other fine, but as soon as it comes to money, then it changes the dynamics of the group. And it's like, is this being fairly doled out? Is somebody skimming off the top? It's definitely a complicated subject. And converting between US dollars and ADA, also another complexity in this. So it's still something that keeps me awake at night. I feel like I can play with it with Fund 7. Most of the people here, except for Simon, were not part of Fund 7 budget. So I don't, I don't feel like that's part of what needs to be paid out at this moment. Fund 8 for sure is related to the activity that's have been going on. But I also think that it's important to look at the proposals themselves and the budgets that are set out.
For sure.
The other thing is too that, it's almost like when we go to Project Catalyst for a fund, we go, okay, we'll do this work and I'm going to get paid for it. It's really important that we we line up the work that we're doing with what is needed to be done and what's part of the, in this case, the proposal that got paid out in funding. It's really important that those things that we said were going to be done actually get done. It's one thing to come and do work that we love, but when it comes from outside money, then it's important to make sure that we're aligning with what we promised. So
Right.
it's a catch-22, and I certainly it's not my favorite subject, and I will procrastinate as much as possible, but it is also coming, you know, as time goes by and different things come. Fund 7 will come shortly.
Good. I do think, and it's in the. Here's some ideas about this subject to make it sort of generalized, and it leads to the importance of it for solving this for communities. In the video, they talked about that once community work is paid, then the people lose enthusiasm, or
some people do. Some
right.
people do. Yeah. I know that when money enters into it, if you tell me I'm going to get paid X number of dollars per hour, it's like, oh my, there's just something about it. Yeah, and Simon, I'll definitely send a link to that YouTube. And actually, if you're in the Miro board, you can find it.
Yeah, it's
all right.
it's there. In the, yeah.
I got it.
And
thanks.
And this is something, and this is something for that I can report in the sense of sprint, you know, reflection. And that actually I do want to transition into that in earnest. Let me share my screen. And
I'd also be really curious about what people expect to be paid for also, and what people need to be paid for. And what do we consider the intangibles? Because especially when we work offline, you know, we're not punching a clock, and it's based on an honor system, right? So
yes, it's sort of going back to that one of those original ideas of the honor system fruit stand. I think that is you know, working for yourself, working for money, working for somebody else for money. Like these concepts are limiting, or are the boundaries, or they're just what is in our mindsets from my youth, and I'm talking about myself here. Like those things need to be worked out in order to collaborate in community, and that's what this group, the C4C, does, or that's been their focus, is coordination and collaboration. And the reason or the purpose for that coordination and collaboration is maintaining the living system of the planet. You know, it in my mind is the most important thing, to make sure that this Mother Earth stays alive, so that I myself and my community and everyone can continue to be here. That's one of those systems theory, systems concepts, or living concepts, is that an organism, a system, will try to survive. And unfortunately, it may be that we go through another mass extinction event. And if you look around, it does seem that way, that we are in collapse, that the system is breaking down, and that whatever we do to try to stop it. That
being said, you know, our monetary system will probably collapse at some time before long. What are we going to base it on? Could I just ask everybody, you know, just thoughts on money in particular, getting paid, things that you think are important about being paid. We are recording, and if it feels like nobody's going to talk, I think maybe it would be good to take it off recording. But if we get some people, Yoram, I see you're off mute. Just thoughts on money first.
Let's see. Let's see if we can pause the.
No, just wait. Yoram, are you okay recorded?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I mean, look, you know, people have different choices, right? So one choice is, okay, let's live in a separate planet, or you know, separated than everyone. Let's live in the forest, right? And let's. Some people live like this, and even in our ecosystem, so some people that live like that, right? And let's be self-sustained and live there. But you know, the fact that the economic system doesn't work, unfortunately or fortunately, we are still part of this economic system, right? We are still dependent. I mean, we live in New York or wherever we live, we need to go and live somewhere, and we need to eat, unless we decide to go completely out, right? And so for me, I mean, you know, I choose to be part of Cardano and Cardano for Climate and so on in order to, yeah, I choose. You know, I could have earned. Let's say I moved out of my economic comfort zone. Let's say it like this, to join. But as you know, my philosophy is that, you know, what we do here in general and impact in general should be compensated, right? In terms of people that are focusing on impact related work should be able to live out of that. And actually impact related work should be the norm, right, of the ecosystems. So, I mean, if you have a business that hurt nature and people on it, so it's not a normal business. It's not that impactful is to work with nature and people. That should be the norm, right? And one thing that actually I understood coming from Davos now, I spent a few days there, is that there's so many people trying to do incredible stuff all over the world. I mean, tons of projects. But we're actually all competing on the 1%, I'm just calling it 1%, but we're all competing on the 1% of the corporate's money to finance what we are doing. Okay, just call it 1% as a say, right? And we are not trying to see how we can actually enforce the corporates to pay 10%, right? To all these impact projects happening, and not just 1%. And kind of we are dependent today on this ecosystem of corporates, also within Catalyst, by the way, as we can see. Yeah, to basically keep on our work. So we need to find another system, but or different system, or collaborate with the system. But the system has to be also today compensated in monetary, you know, financial stuff. We still live in a financial ecosystem. So it's not that we will try to create, again, I mean, our philosophy is how we create many successful companies and not one, and not unicorn, right? But still, part of the success of companies, you know, is the ecosystem, take care of the employees, but also, you know, people have to earn money, in my view. So it's a different, so it's changing the mindset of money, you know, I have to have the most, the best, I have to have, you know, yeah, to live and balance. Yeah, please.
Okay, I've got something about like how to be first. You know, I'm a student of Taoism, and you know, forms my Qigong meditation practice. And they have a thing called the 3 treasures. And the 3 treasures are: 1, love; 2, don't overextend; and 3, don't try to be first. And the idea, that mindset of being first, if you tie that with money, and if you factor in money, so love and money, love and overextension, love and being first, it sets up for really sort of not, we could, maybe a Taoist money philosophy would include these things. And really everything, keys off this idea of love. Like, if we love one another as ourselves, like if we believe in this sort of unity of everyone, then you wouldn't, destroy everybody else in order to make yourself number one. Those things are in the wisdom tradition. Those things are in the wisdom tradition, and those values are there. And it's just, how did we get away from those values into this system that we are in now?
So that's exactly it. So I don't have anything against money. I have something against using money without value and using money as a power, and trying to have more and more and more. I mean, how much bloody money someone have? Like, you have already $100 million. Okay, why you need 200 million? I mean, there's kind of endless reach for whatever, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So can we just kind of narrow in on to our small little pot of money? It's a limited resource, and we're trying to incentivize and reward people for work and contributions within Cardano for Climate.
Yeah.
And, it's a small amount. We can, if we start trying to figure out the world systems, it's too complex. So if we could just narrow down to our own situation, we have a limited budget that's going to run out because, we have so much that comes in. And how do we share that? How do we share that fairly?
So
and then So also, Yoram, just Cole, Daniel, and Simon and Juanita, you've been quiet, but please, you can also say
I will
in
give
the
my
chat that you
feedback,
don't
and
want
then
to
I
be
will
recorded.
ask them. I will give my feedback and then let them as well to speak. Just that I level it for them a little bit. I mean, I think, the proposal that we got funded for have specific objectives and tasks to do, right? And budget associated with them. So I'm not sure the budget has to, go one-on-one, and everyone should, specifically, but definitely there's tasks to do, and them, and some people are doing these tasks, and we can try and measure, also the ecosystem support of these tasks to do them, like writing the proposal, getting funded, making this meeting today, right, and all of the recording, all the admin, all the support behind it, the community, right, the platform. You can calculate that as well. But there is a budget for them, and in my view, that should somehow follow this budget in general. That's my at least view.
Yeah,
but,
so
I'm not interested.
That's pretty straightforward. If it's in the budget, it says this is a task, you get paid X number of dollars for this, and you get paid, which also means it's not going to be what it says in the budget for dollars because of the value of ADA. That's been changed. So there's that expectation. What I'm wondering though is, okay, we've spent everything. We've got nothing left in the pot. How would that look for everybody? And how would it keep you coming back to Cardano for Climate to keep working? Like, what would satisfy you, knowing that it was divvied up fairly amongst the community, and we don't have people that feel like they were missed, or that somebody was paid? You talked about it, like people have way too much in their money, in their wallet, so to speak. How do we make sure that we do this fairly, and that people remain motivated to keep coming back and contributing?
So Melanie, everyone here, is at least 6 months in Cardano for Climate without getting paid a dime, right? So
Correct.
So it's not that if we pay them now and then decide people
I
decide
think
not to
though
come,
that if
so
we
it's their own choice.
paid
But
unfairly, if we paid unfairly, like if a good portion of it went, say you and I decide that, you know, we're going to take 75% of the budget because you and I have put in, you know, huge amount of work, you know, it's not really shown, whatever. I think there would be a little bit of a problem.
Of course. There need to be, it have to have rationale, and we need to consider, you know, the community and all of that. 100%.
So let's let, I see Cole and Juanita have come off. And Juanita and Yoram, you're ready to translate if need be?
Sí, claro.
Okay.
I agree also.
Cole?
I was just gonna say I agree with the point of where like maybe like looking at what tasks have been completed by who and what the proposals had like outlined is like a good way to figure out the disbursements and payments, just because I guess like with the proposal, that's kind of what we outlined and kind of what I guess the community would expect in a way. But also I think that's kind of my only comment I had on that. But I had another thought, but let me think of it. Juanita, if you want to go.
Yeah, it's a great thought. I just give one remark to that small one. That I mean, and I agree with you in general, but don't forget that there's a round of work around the proposal, like writing the reports and the monthly report, and that is not included in the budget, right?
Yeah.
So, or the platform that enables. Anyway, but in general guidelines, yeah, 100%.
And maybe that's something we could look at in the future, like adding those to the budgets, so it's a little more clear too. Like who reporting, writing, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think we should definitely do that. Yeah.
Simon, please, sir.
Yeah, it feels to me like we just have to decide on something. Like there's a couple ways on how to distribute the money fairly. We just have to decide on something that is fair to us, I think.
And that being said, you know, we decide on it, right? Somebody does the work and then we put it out to the community to get feedback on it before the disbursement. It needs to be transparent that way. And then I know that it's important to make a decision, but then also make sure that we have feedback on it before we press the send button, just in case we haven't seen anything. So, you know, this is what I'm hoping will happen in the next little bit, that we'll have something set up for Fund 8. I'm working on the Fund 7, and others are welcome to jump in on it with me if you're interested. This is, you know, a lot of pre-group that's here, but yeah, we'll set up something, and I'm done. Now we need other people to speak. Juanita and Daniel.
Daniel.
Should I go or you, Juanita?
Go. Go.
Okay. So yeah, I think one of the things that maybe should be made more clear is, well, I think, and also running a company and having employees, I think incentivizing people is one of the toughest things to talk about, and one of the most uncomfortable things to talk about. But I think that with transparency and leaving like the stigma of talking about money and for it to be awkward, maybe things can work a little bit better. So if there's limit resources for C4C, and we know there's a ton of different parts that play into running C4C and everything, I think maybe if we get together, talk about money, decide who's gonna do what, and maybe set up like different reward systems for the people that make the impact reports, that do the recording and everything. I think that should be better for everyone. And at the end of the day, I know I'm not here for money. I'm here to make an impact and also to be part of a community that can help me grow my own personal needs and help the world as I see fit and as a community. But I think that incentives are always needed. Coming from a country like Mexico, I think you realize that people need money to live and to work, even though they have the best intentions to help everyone and help the world and make this a better world. People do need to buy food and pay rent. And I think that's the best way to go about it. So I don't know if that was clear, but yeah, that's my opinion.
Very, very clear, Daniel. The one thing that I hear being said is set up the tasks and what get paid for. That's an activity in itself, right? That's the setup bit. And once that's done, it becomes very top down, right? Someone determines that this task is worth this much, and that's fine. I think that we can do, yeah, time, exactly. Juanita, go ahead. And you're on mute. Yeah.
In Spanish or English?
Spanish.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Bueno, seguimos siendo incluyentes con el español, así por sí, cosa que amo. Tengo una opinión muy similar a la de Daniel. Yo tampoco estoy aquí por temas económicos, sino porque realmente...
Juanita, should I translate? ¿Traduzco en medio para que todos entiendan o traduzco al final?
No, traduce en medio, Dani.
Okay, she's saying that she has a similar point of view as of mine, that she's not here for the money, but to do a change in the world.
Ok, siento que es igual, no solo México, sino en América Latina. Aparte, pues sí se requieren ciertos tipos de, como no pagos, Dani, retribuciones por la situación social que vivimos.
But it's not just in Mexico, that all of Latin America, that because of the social things that are happening here, the economic systems that happen in Latin America, that people do need some type of incentives for them to be able to work on some stuff.
Pues para quienes lo requieran, esos incentivos, sigo pensando que C4C es como el bloque principal de Cardano, es el mundo real de Cardano. Y aquí es donde realmente vamos a generar un cambio real, donde todo lo que tenemos y conocemos y hacemos va a impactar realmente el mundo más allá de los temas económicos. Si se hacen las cosas bien, el dinero va a llegar por añadidura. Entonces pienso que hay que trabajar duro y crear ideas y crear impacto en todos los temas que trabajamos desde Cardano for Climate.
She's saying that she still thinks that leaving the economic side apart, that C4C is one of the main things about Cardano, or the heart of Cardano, and it's the most important part of the Cardano community at the moment. And that if we keep pushing forward, that money eventually is gonna flow in when we do a real impact and we really get to change the world. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Juanita. I know I see the time.
Wait.
Okay, more, go.
Finally,
Go.
Thank you very much for including Spanish in this meeting. It's important for me, for Latin, for many people. It's very important have this meeting in Spanish and the other language. Thank you very much.
We got to figure out how to do this more, that we can just slow down and listen to each other in whatever language we need to. So, my challenge is here, we have this limited amount of money. We live on a blockchain, though, that you can create all sorts of tokens. So is there another way, we do this work, we run out of money, and in the meantime, work continues and people do it without pay. Is there a way that we can show how people work in the meantime? And then when money comes in, when there's an abundance, that gets distributed fairly based on the work that's being done on a continuous basis. This is my thoughts in Fund 7, to set up some sort of system that recognizes ongoing work, fund money coming in or not. How can we watch that and incentivize people the way they want to be incentivized? Some people may come because they want to build up their reputation. That's all they matter. It's all that matters. Maybe they want to learn about something and this is an education to them and they get paid in that kind of way. So, you know, I want to leave that flexibility there, that we don't just assume people want to get paid with money or ADA, but maybe there's another way that we can set up a balancing, because I know math. In math, you have an equation on one side, an equal sign in another one. When you take away from one side, you have to take away from the other. So how do we balance this equation? Daniel.
There's one last thing to add. I think that that should be work that has to be done before we make the proposals. Like in my case with the impact onboarding. So I wasn't part of the impact onboarding proposal at first. I didn't even know about it until Cole told me about it and suggested we worked on it. And it was like a project that was floating around and no one was taking care of it. So maybe if the people that ask for the budget get together at first and say, okay, if this gets funded, we too are going to work on this. This is what's going to be needed. Someone has to report, and that takes time. And talk to each other and say like, okay, I want this type of incentives to do this work, or even I don't need incentives to do this work. It's like perhaps there's a confusion on my side on, okay, I found this project that said it was going to incentivize me, but I didn't ask for the incentivization. It was just up there for the grabs. And that's why I have some questions about it. But maybe
So,
if I was first.
Yeah, imagine going to Project Catalyst. Like there's the proposal, the onboarding, impact onboarding, and it says what needs to be done and how it gets divvied up. Take a look at that and go, okay, oh, I can finish that. I can do that, because see, someone wrote the proposal. They're not necessarily the person, that's the top down. They're not necessarily the person that's going to do the work. You want to do the work, you're going to complete the work, and this is what you get for it. Fit into that proposal, and then it makes life easy for everybody. When it's required for the person that wrote the proposal to go in and go, yeah, this is the, you know, it's more. And it feels like almost like Project Catalyst, like we have this fund, you make it fair, people vote on it. Now you have requirements, you know, to fulfill. And I think that once those get done, that makes life easy and obvious. And then you go in and you say, okay, well, this fits into this. We look at it and go, wow, thanks, Daniel. You made my life easy. I hate doing accounting. I love you, you know, and then, you know, no problem, right? So it means work for you to a point, but, you know, it's an imperfect system. I really strongly believe that we have to work on the not top down, bring it from the bottom up. Certainly somebody has control of the passwords and the send button, but I think that's probably a good thing.
Yes, and make sure that incentives are aligned with what people that are going to do the work expect. And I think that's the thing. Maybe this budget for a specific project that it's like kind of floating around, it's way too high for what someone might ask for doing that work because they genuinely want to help. Or maybe it's too low because they have other needs and their time is too valuable. So that's what I think, to maybe work together and try and set up better systems.
Right, and that's the experience that we get, and then we collaborate on the next one. Fund 10 is coming, you know, like all this experience, all the iterations, all the mistakes are part of what's going. Thanks, Yoram, thanks for jumping in. It's all part of it, you know, and we'll do better. This is one iteration, and how can we make it better? I think I know Newman Was that you have to go, or was it Yoram Cardano for climate? Because we have several.
Oh, I think that was Yoram. I just want to thank you so much for this conversation. Very, very important. I'm very glad that we were able to get into some really substantive work today. I am mindful of the time. We're about 6 minutes past the hour. I do know that just as an administrative note that perhaps the impact onboarding group needs the Zoom room.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say goodbye. Does everybody else want to